Hi, my name is Bear, and let's start with Call of Cthulhu. The year is 1924, and here you will take on the role of a private detective. But instead of catching cheating husbands and wives, you must do a bit more serious job. So you are sent to investigate the death of a well-known family on a remote island. What could go wrong? Yeah, you will probably meet some strange creatures, experience weird science, and even come face to face with a creepy cult. I mean, what else is there to do when you spend your time on an isolated island? Knit socks? Repaint the fences? Make potato salad? Although I doubt that you could find the best quality doctor's sausage here.
I am so bored. Yeah, me too. Let's join a cult.
But if you think about it, honestly, if the people of the island would do some sock knitting and repainting the fences for fun, maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't need to join a sinister cult for fun. Some food for thought. Anyways, people are saying that the story of the game is very interesting, engaging, and spooky. But Call of Cthulhu doesn't let you explore much. It is more focused on nice cutscenes, and it does feel more like an adventure game. Bloodborne. Here you will travel around a mysterious gothic city, and of course every creature lurking in the darkness will try to fight you, because they are hungry and you do look like a snack. You will also explore procedurally generated underground ruins filled with traps, epic loot, and some more of those creatures. And your enemies will not be entirely traditional. They will be ranging from regular monsters of fantasy games to some really unconventional beings. Here you will also encounter some cosmic horrors as well. The game was strongly influenced by Lovecraft creations. For example, Bloodborne sometimes feels extremely surreal, and also those mysterious alien entities, such classic Lovecraftian vibes. In general, the game will be perfect for an unsettling spooky evening, although keep in mind that Bloodborne is made by the same guys who made Dark Souls and Elden Ring, which means that if you are not a god of controller, you will probably die more times than you would possibly want to. So be sure you have patience and that Sony PlayStation device, because the game is exclusive to this platform. Forgive me, Father. As the only one left with full senses, you embark on a journey in search of answers and relief through a distinctive retro horror comic book inspired game that feels as if it came straight out of Lovecraft's books. Well, honestly, if Mr. Lovecraft had the ability to make comics, they would probably be way darker and gloomier than this game. So here you will have to be aware of your madness level, which dynamically changes during gameplay and gives you additional power. You will choose your active skills depending on your playstyle and use them to fight against eternal evil. The arsenal of weapons in your custody is more than great. Various shotguns, cursed dolls, brooms, and even filthy creatures of the nightmares. All these will make your journey fun and way less fun for your adversaries. You know, it is hard to be in a great mood when your body parts are attending a bloody dismantle party. The game is filled with hard-to-reach places and hidden areas, so it is really appealing for the old-school Doom and Duke Nukem players. The game is strictly single-player, made entirely for your own pleasure. The Shore. I have played this game while it was still in development, and I was really impressed by the grand scale of some creatures and entities that roam this Lovecraftian world. And by saying Lovecraftian, I really mean it. You will literally encounter Cthulhu himself. So basically The Shore is a game about the mystery of the unknown set on a forbidden island filled with horrors. He will take control of Andrew, a father searching for his lost daughter, and while doing the searching part you will awaken a cosmic horror or two. Or, you know, 4 or 7, this game is filled with them. Although keep in mind that it is not flawless. It has some bugs, some invisible walls, and terrible combat. Although fighting is not the main aspect of The Shore, that's for sure. Darkest Dungeon. In this challenging turn-based roguelite RPG, you will recruit and train heroes and send them to battle in a variety of dungeons. Yeah, as always, send others to do your own job. The interesting part is that these said heroes are very, human. In-game they will battle not only enemies but also stress, fear, and lack of potato salad, by which I mean hunger. So you will uncover strange mysteries and pit the heroes against an array of fearsome monsters. Game may not look like it's a lot of fun, but it is, believe me. Even though people love this game, at times it can seem punishing and unfair. But in general, Darkest Dungeon is fun if you like numbers, strategy, and turn-based combat. Also, players are seeing many similarities with H.P. Lovecraft stories, like The Alchemist and famous Call of Cthulhu as well, not to mention overall dark and gloomy vibes. Stirring Abyss. This is an indie tactical squad-based game with strong RPG elements. Here you'll uncover the ancient mysteries of the oceans depicted in the classic style of Lovecraftian horror. You take charge of the surviving crew of a submarine that sinks while on a top-secret research mission during the early years of the Cold War. You find yourself surrounded by the ruins of a forgotten civilization, and your vessel is too badly damaged to escape the seabed. You slowly unravel all the mysteries of the depths in a desperate quest to rescue your missing crew members and fix the crippled submarine. The choices you make determine the fate of your crew and the entire world. People on Steam are saying that here XCOM meets Cthulhu, and that is all you need to know. If you are in doubt, you can play free demo version. Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened. If you like Sherlock Holmes and Lovecraftian stuff, this may be your spoon of potato salad. Here you become Sherlock Holmes and find yourself at the heart of terrifying Cthulhu mythos as you investigate a series of mysterious disappearances in Europe and the United States. Those are apparently linked to a dark cult that worships an ancient god. Whatever their plan is, you must put a stop to it, or, face unspeakable consequences. Yeah, all that sounds nice, but can I join the cult? Can I worship the ancient god as well? What if Sherlock decided that his life of investigations is boring and being a servant for a Dagon himself is a more fulfilling experience? I doubt that, but it would be nice if you could actually choose the unexpected way. Eldritch. This is a first-person shooter action roguelike where you will take on the role of 1920s investigator. Here you will explore a 10-story dungeon beneath the mountains of Antarctica. The world here is procedurally generated, so no matter how many times you play, the levels will always be different. In Eldritch, you will be able to fight with knives, guns, and with magic too. Really fun combo, and you will meet very well-known Lovecraftian characters, as if they were directly spawned to this Minecraft and Spelunky hybrid. I've read some comments about the game, and I can confirm that a lot of people are recommending this game for anyone who would like a fun and simple roguelite game with fast and easy way to play. Eldritch will only take about 4 hours to beat, but after you win the game, a new difficulty mode is unlocked. Enemies become stronger, helpful items become rarer, and gameplay shifts to a more stealth game-inspired mechanics, and the madness starts creeping in. Sea Salt. It's a dark fantasy reverse horror action strategy game with a comfy horror vibe where you play as a nightmarish force of Dagon, the Eldritch god. You will be controlling an ever-growing horde of evil minions. To say short, you are evil and you slay good guys. That is very nice, I like that. Game looks easy at the beginning, you just run after some weaponless guys and tear them to pieces. But later it gets harder and harder.
That's what she said.
And then everything in your control dies horribly. To be short, it's a great game. I have reviewed this game in my channel, and back then I gave the game 8 cold beers out of 10, which is a really high amount of imaginary alcohol. The Sinking City. I want to be totally honest with you, this is not a very good game. For some people it constantly crashes, combat is kinda awful, and inventory is a blasphemy of some sort. This is an adventure and investigation game set in an open world inspired by the universe of H.P. Lovecraft. The half-submerged city of Oakmont is gripped by supernatural forces, and you are a private investigator who has to uncover the truth of what has possessed the city and the minds of its inhabitants. Keep in mind that people are saying that if your expectations for this game are low, you will be pleasantly surprised. The game do a great job by making you feel like a truly great detective. And also everyone is agreeing on the fact that this game should be priced €10 or below to actually feel like a good purchase. Sunless Sea. This is a horror gothic game. Here you'll be able to explore the Victorian Gothic universe of fallen London, with a focus on exploration and exquisite storytelling. But be careful, some trips might lead you to a certain death, or worse, cannibalism, or the worst, lack of potato salad. Anyways, people really enjoy the beautiful art of this game. Here you'll also meet some very well painted Lovecraftian sea monsters, and the whole vibe in general is very ominous. Even though you will have to read walls of text here, you will do that with joy because the writing is fantastic. But don't expect fancy combat or fast plot lines full of exciting events. No, game is slow, but the brilliant storyline, writing quality, and world building aspects are all handled very well. The only downside is, since you will die a lot, you will have to start over. If the giant crabs, sentient icebergs, and swarms of bats don't get you, madness and cannibalism certainly will. And those nicely written texts won't seem as nice to read for the 10th time. Sunless Sea is more like choosing your own adventure novel than a game. If you like slow-paced, story-rich games, then get in the boat and try to fish the biggest marinated herring you can find. Yes, they come from sea already marinated, if you're lucky enough. Vanishing of Ethan Carter. The game surprised me by not having any UI, no information bar or anything like that. And that's a good thing because it doesn't need one anyway. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is very detailed and the praise this game received for its graphics is very much deserved. You may call the game a walking simulator, but it's more like a detective story that you have to unfold by, walking around. Here you'll slowly reveal clues that allow you to piece the events of this Lovecraftian mystery together. Yeah, the game may sometimes be really creepy, but that adds to the immersion. Main story is constructed from several smaller stories, and once you collect all the clues, the game rewards you with an interesting and unexpected conclusion. Like really, if you are expecting some simple murder mystery here, it's nothing like that. So basically, if you like slow-paced, beautiful games with the ability to surprise you, this is one of the best choices you can make. Dredge. So this is a fishing game, and in real life I am terrible at fishing. My last 2 fishing trips were marked by my own blood because I caught myself and I had to actually cut out the barbed end of the hook with pliers in order to remove it from my soft, puny body. Long story short, I am the biggest thing I ever caught. That was really funny for my friends, but for me that was as grim as it can get. So the setting of fishing is nothing that I actually consider a fun thing. But Dredge is not just a fishing game, it's a fishing game with a twist. After dark it becomes a Lovecraftian fishing game. The world around you is teeming with creatures from the void, and when the night sets in, our worlds collide and cosmic horrors enter our realm. Not as scary as your ex-mother-in-law, but still terrifying things. So ideally you want to return to a harbor before the night sets in, so you won't become a dinner for some malevolent demigod of the depths. You can also dock in some safe location and sleep during the night. Of course, it is easier said than done, because the game uses a very cool time management mechanic. If you do nothing, time doesn't move. Like for real, if you just swing on the waves and admire the horizon, you can stay like this forever. But when you start sailing, the timer starts ticking, and at 6 PM Lovecraftian madness starts to settle in. This is a wonderful and honestly kinda relaxing game. Well, except when you go into mangroves. Oh, it's not relaxing at all. Anyway, the game is absolutely 10 cold beers out of 10. A must play. Cthulhu Saves the World. Here you'll play as Cthulhu. Long story short, some sorcerer stole your powers and you will have to take them back. So after that, you could destroy the Earth. The battles here are turn-based, and you will find companions to fight with. Gamers are saying that Cthulhu Saves the World is a perfect mix of JRPGs and parody games, made so well that it doesn't sacrifice the game's integrity. Only thing it will sacrifice is the world itself if Mr. Cthulhu succeeds with your help. Although some are annoyed with a maze-like dungeon system. When every few steps you encounter an enemy you have to fight. Anyway, the price is really nice. Check it out. There is also a second part of the game called Cthulhu Saves Christmas, where he lost his powers again, and the only way to regain them is to save Santa Claus. Darkwood. If you could imagine a Lovecraftian forest with all the horrors in it, Darkwood checks all the marks. It is heavily inspired by, for example, Color Out of Space, and even has some Easter eggs in this field. When I played it, I felt that creators probably took a lot of inspiration from Stephen King as well, who is himself a fan of Lovecraft, and you can feel the influence in many of his novels, starting from madness-infusing Shining to the horrors of the unknown in The Mist. So the Darkwood makes you feel that you are trying to survive in one of these stories. Creepy monsters, inhabitants and ever-changing woods surround your every step. By day you collect resources and explore the area, but by night you must barricade yourself in a safe place because various beasts of horror will try to make you, less alive. So every night is a battle for survival, and every day is another chance to make your fortress stronger. Story is great, the gameplay is great, and the game is simply a must-play. Song of Horror Complete Edition. So this is a cute game for the whole family. Well, if you are a family of monsters, that is. Otherwise, this is a psychological horror game for adults. Here, a famous writer has gone missing, along with his entire family. Worried, his editor sent an assistant to his house in order to look for him, but he never came back. If you have seen the movie In the Mouth of Madness with Sam Neill, you can draw parallels already. But that is not the same story, oh no. Here, these disappearances spark a set of events that will soon reveal something dreadful. A nameless dark entity known only as the Presence seems to be responsible, but this is not just a simple horror jumpscare-infused game.
Oh no.
The evil Presence is controlled by an advanced AI that adapts to your actions and decisions, and that makes it, you know, actually alive. That is extremely creepy. So as a player, you will live the story through the eyes of a varied set of characters related to the story in their own way. Every character is different and brings their unique point of view to the investigation, allowing you to approach clues and items differently, but all of them can die if the Presence gets to them, and death is permanent. So how strong are your mental balls? Some say that the game has better horror than Lovecraft has ever written. Well, it's for you to decide, if you have a pair, but I recommend having at least 7 of them. Amnesia: The Dark Descent. This is a first-person survival horror game about immersion, discovery and living through a nightmare, an experience that will chill you to the very core. You wake up without much memories and stumble through a narrow corridors as the distant cry is heard. It is getting closer, and you somehow are pretty much sure that there are no actual babies in this castle. You don't know what will you encounter here, but the fact is that the castle is huge and you are not alone. And you have no weapon, you can only hide in the darkness. Funny thing is that the darkness makes you mad, and the light attracts nightmares. This is an absolute lose-lose situation. So in general, if you ever wanted to be an actual protagonist in any Lovecraftian story, Amnesia will do everything it can to make you actually feel the dread. It will make your palms sweaty and the hair on your back will stand up. The game endorses the Lovecraftian trope of madness as you travel deeper and deeper down the cellars and dungeons of an ancient castle. What will you find deep down below? Nothing very nice, I promise. The game is an absolute gem with overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. Call of the Sea. A wonderful game for puzzle lovers when you unlock the secrets in the Hunt of Missing Expedition. The story is heavily inspired by H.P. Lovecraft stories, but it is not a horror game. Call of the Sea is focused on the acceptance of other realities outside our own, but also focusing on how the discovery of events at a greater scale can lead us to the knowledge of who we really are. It is the year 1934. In the far reaches of South Pacific, you play as Nora, who has crossed the ocean following the trail of her missing husband's expedition and finds herself in a lush island paradise, a nameless forgotten place dotted with the remnants of lost civilization. What strange mysteries does it hold? And what might Nora dig up in her quest for the truth? Maybe a better recipe for potato salad? Nah, I doubt it. People are talking that Call of the Sea has a very interesting story and the visuals are stunning. On Steam it has about 90% of positive reviews, and that is definitely enough for you to dive in this first-person story-rich adventure. Find your husband, my hero. Find him alive. Remnant: From the Ashes. This is a third-person RPG shooter. Here the world has been thrown into a chaos by an ancient evil from another dimension. So here Lovecraft meets the never-ending story and provides us with a great Souls-like game where you, instead of swords and maces, will wield an array of powerful firearms. So here, as one of the last remnants of humanity, you must set out alone or alongside up to 2 other survivors, and then face down hordes of deadly enemies, rebuild and retake what was lost. The strongest side of the game is the various guns and weapons. They're really good looking and fun to use. You know how in some other games you get a nice looking gun, but there is no real satisfaction to shoot it? Well, that's not the case in Remnant. Also, people are praising the Great Co-op mode, so you can play the game with your mother-in-law and do some nice bonding together. Hellpoint. This is a dark action RPG set in a heavily atmospheric sci-fi universe where the line between science and occultism is blurred. Once a pinnacle of human achievement, the Irid Novo space station has fallen. Its ruins are now overrun by cruel, interdimensional entities acting as puppets of the malevolent cosmic gods. People are talking that this game is a hybrid between Dark Souls and Dead Space, but I played it and it's literally just another Dark Souls game. Yeah, it's in space, but you know, whatever. Actually, if you want, you can play one chapter for free. You can find Hellpoint: The Thespian Feast on Steam. The game itself has around 80% of positive reviews, so it's an okay game. Nothing fancy about it, but you can enjoy it for a few hours if you are a fan of Souls-like mechanics. Also, a controller is a must. Thank you for watching, have a nice day,
and I'll see you next time. Bye.